Imagine a world where borders matter less, where economies are intricately interconnected, and where global governance holds sway. Welcome to the world of globalism. This concept, rooted in the idea of worldwide unity, has some influential proponents, such as Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, or WEF. Notably, prominent figures like Bill Gates have funded numerous initiatives that align with this global outlook. So, what does a staunch globalist like Klaus Schwab envision for our future? Klaus Schwab paints a picture of a world that is radically different from the one we know today. Schwab, the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, envisions a future where global cooperation and shared responsibility are the norm. Schwab believes in a globalist world where borders are less significant and collective action is paramount. This vision is closely tied to the agenda of the WEF, an organization that promotes public-private partnerships and aims to shape global, regional, and industry agendas. Key figures like Bill Gates are crucial to this vision. Gates's financial backing and partnerships have significantly influenced the direction of the WEF and its initiatives. This collaboration has led to advancements in various sectors globally, from healthcare to technology. But what does this mean for individual ownership and economic freedom in a globalist world? As we move towards a more interconnected world, these are questions we must grapple with. The WEF proposes a shift towards service-based economies, but what does this mean for personal property rights? Well, it's a vision where you may not own much, but have access to everything you need. This idea, seemingly plucked from a utopian novel, is rooted in the belief that shared resources, facilitated by technology, can lead to a more sustainable and equitable world. But what happens to the concept of ownership in this scenario? It becomes fluid, almost elusive. The assurance of having something that is unequivocally yours could dissolve into the ambiguity of having access to shared resources. This shift could potentially impact economic freedom and personal wealth. What if you disagree with how these shared resources are managed? What if you prefer ownership over access? These questions underline the complexities of this envisaged future. However, not everyone is on board with this vision of the future. Globalism, like any ideology, has its critics. While many see it as a path towards unity and shared prosperity, others warn of potential dangers. One of the most significant concerns is the overreach of corporate power. In a globalized world, multinational corporations could potentially wield more influence than some governments. This could lead to situations where profit margins dictate policy instead of the needs and rights of individuals. Another fear is the erosion of individual rights. As we move towards a world where everything is interconnected, there's a risk that personal liberties could be compromised in the name of global security or efficiency. Centralizing global governance also has its pitfalls. While it could streamline decision-making, it also means that a small group of people would hold a massive amount of power. Could we trust them to act in everyone's best interest? One such critic is Bill Gates, but what is his role in all of this? Bill Gates, the tech tycoon turned philanthropist, has a significant influence on global health and technology sectors. Through his foundation, Gates pours billions into research, development, and initiatives that shape our world in profound ways. Now, here's where it gets interesting. With such financial clout, Gates's influence extends beyond just funding. His views, his priorities, and his vision are inherently woven into the fabric of these sectors. This raises critical questions about the balance of power. How might this concentration of influence affect global policy? Could it inadvertently curb individual freedoms or skew economic dynamics? It's a complex issue that deserves our attention. But what are the real-world implications of these globalist policies? The effects of globalism aren't just theoretical, they're happening right now. Let's take a look at some real-world instances where globalist policies have stirred controversy. In Europe, the European Union's open border policy, a pillar of globalism, has faced backlash for its impact on national security and identity. Meanwhile, in the United States, multinational corporations have been criticized for outsourcing jobs to countries with cheaper labor. a practice made possible by global trade agreements. In developing countries, the influence of global institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank has raised questions about economic sovereignty. Their structural adjustment programs have often led to austerity measures, sparking protests and civil unrest. These examples illustrate that while globalism may foster interconnectedness and cooperation, it can also lead to contentious outcomes. It's a complex, multifaceted issue that requires careful, nuanced examination. And what does the public and experts have to say about all this? The globalist agenda, driven by figures like Schwab and Gates, has stirred considerable debate. Public reactions vary greatly, from hopeful optimism to profound skepticism. On one hand, globalism promises a united world, but on the other, it raises concerns about potential overreach and loss of autonomy. Expert critiques echo these sentiments, emphasizing the need for transparency and checks on power. Some even question the true intentions behind these policies. It's a complex, multifaceted issue with no easy answers. So what can we do about it? Knowledge is power. Awareness is the first step towards action. In a world rapidly evolving under the influence of globalism, it's essential we critically evaluate its impact. Let's advocate for transparency, autonomy, and informed decision-making. Stay informed, stay vigilant. The world is changing, but how it changes is up to us.